Hello, hello. Good evening from Me'am Loez, Ramat Bet Shemesh. We are in Maseches Shabbos, Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph, Kelet, Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph. Bottom of the page, our daily Gemara shir. Sholch lebnei bishkar. This shir is Le'ilu Nishmas, my father, Menachem ben Akiva, and for the quick release of all the hostages very, very soon. Geula Shlem of the whole of Klal Yisrael. Sholchu lebnei bishkar. We are learning a few halachas to do with kila, with ohel on Shabbos, making a tent, an ohel, a kind of a provisory building on Shabbos. And in that context, we see the following story. Shalchu lebnei bishkar lelevi. The people of the town of Bishkar in Bovel, they sent a letter, a question, a letter like they used to always, there's always a halachic responsa. And here's one example already in the times of the Gemara. Bnei Bishkar asked Levi, Kila Mahu, 3 questions. What's the halacha regarding Kila? Erecting, building a Kila, a canopy over a bed on Shabbos. Is that a problem of Ohel? Yeah. Ohel, which is Ol Arai, a tolda of Boine. Is there any way it's allowed? Is it always also, as we saw before? Kshuta Bekama Mahu. What's the halacha regarding kshoit, which is like a vegetable or like a smaller kind of plant, which is called hops, I think in English. They make alcohol out of it, but that kshoit happens to always be a parasite. It's parasiting and it's latching onto like a tree, a thorny kind of bush. And kshuta bekama, what happens if you have that kshoit, that interesting parasite, if it grows in a vineyard? Because usually in a vineyard, the halacha is that only kile yerek is a problem. Kila kerem, you're not allowed to plant together to sow yerek, which is a vegetable or things that are zera, seeds in the ground next to the kerem, as opposed to planting trees, which is less of a problem. The question is that considered a vegetable or a fruit? Do you go by the parasite or do you go by the father, who is more like a tree? Which would be okay. Third question, Meis b'Yom Tov Mahu. What's halacha regarding Loleinu, somebody died in Yom Tov? Are you allowed to bury him? Are you allowed to ask Goyim to bury him? What's the story? Ad Azil, yeah, until the letter went and arrived by Levi's Besmedrash, Nach Nafshe de Levi. Levi was nifter before getting a chance to reply to the letter. Shmuel of Menashe. Shmuel then took charge and asked of Menashe, Ichakimas, if you are wise, shlach lehu, you should send them the answer. You answer all 3 questions. Sholach lehu. So he started answering the questions one by one. Sholach lehu. Kila. Answer number 1. Kila. Chazanu al kol tzid kila velo matzinu latzad heter. I looked all over Kila. I looked at all different aspects of the issue of Kila, of the canopy over the bed, and I did not find any tzad of heter. I didn't find any way, any halachic perspective to allow it. I didn't find any way to be matir. I'm sorry, Kila is just not allowed. Frekt, the Gemara, that's not so simple. The Gemara is now asking why. We saw before that there was a solution. Rami bar Yecheskel, what was his solution? Really, there were 2 solutions by Rami bar Yecheskel, if we elaborate more, and that is, if you have the kila, which is shaped like the tefach, horizontal, flat tefach on top, it would be a problem. However, said Rami bar Yecheskel, if it has like some kind of rope or string or strap that's there, like a mechanism to spread it in and out, to move it up and down and sidewise, that makes it okay. That makes it allowed. Or if it's already spread 1 tefach above, and all you're doing is moisif al ohel arai, if you add to the oil, it's also allowed. So why? Why is he being so strict? Why is Rav Menashe telling them, no, it's all forbidden? There are kulos. By the way, of course, there's another question, and that is, why didn't you speak about the kila, which is mamish like a triangle shape? It's also allowed. But that kila they're not asking about. I saw in one of the Meforshim They're not asking about it. They're asking they wanted to get a kula about the one that is flat. So why doesn't he tell them the kula? Answers the Gemara a very, very big yesod. Because the Bnei Bishkar are not Bnei Torah. They're not Torah people. They keep halacha just about, but they're not with the aspiration to grow more in Torah. And therefore, says Rashi, Mekilit Fei, you allow them one thing, they'll take it one step further. It happens many times. Yeah, some people hear of a kula, they extend and expand the kula, to no extent. That's reality, unfortunately. So because these people are not growth-oriented, they're not Bnei Torah, if you allow them that will bring them to destruction. And therefore, he did not tell them about the kula. Second answer, question and answer. Kshuta bekarma irbuvia. Okay, meaning, if the kashoit, if that parasite, which is questionable, shall we define it as vegetable or tree? The parasite is more like a vegetable or a legume, whatever, non-tree, but it's latching on a tree. How do you deal with it? By the way, the tree itself doesn't bear fruit. The tree itself is just a thorny bush. If you look at the tree, it doesn't bear any fruit. If you look at the parasite, there is fruit, but it's just a parasite. So how do you define it? Yeah, right? The good part or the real part? Yeah. So what do you say? Irbuvia. Yes. Again, we see that he was strict. Rav Menashe was strict with them, and he told them it's kilaim. I'm sorry, guys, you're not allowed to plant your favorite kishot together inside or even in close proximity to the kerem. Even daladamis, by the way, should know it's that far. Fragt the Gemara again, similar question. Why? Why is he so, right wing? Why can't he answer back a different kind of? Why can't he send them a nicer letter? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Why can't he tell them about the kula of Talfon? Which Talfon? The Tanya, listen. It says in the Baisa, Kishois, Talfon Omer, and Kilaim Bekerem. Talfon says that a kshoit is not considered to be kilaim in the kerem. Apparently, Talfon believes that it's called a tree, and that tree only bears, it's a bush, just with thorns. A bushy thorn is absolutely fine to be next to the kerem. There's kshoit. The kshoit is just a parasite. It's not the real thing. The chachamim are kilaim bekerem. Chachamim say no. Chachamim are the ones who are strict, and they say yes, it is kilaim bekerem. It's considered to be a vegetable or legume, whatever. It's a smaller plant, and that's why it's kilaim bekerem. We focus on the parasite. Wait a second. So see, it's already a machlokes. Why should I follow Reb Tarfon? He's the minority. No. The kaimelan, and we have a rule. Kol hamekel ba'aretz halacha k'moisa b'chutz la'aretz, which means many mitzvahs. I don't know if many. Some mitzvahs atluis ba'aretz, orla and kilaim mainly. Orla, kilaim, chala. Midoraisa, we all know that agricultural mitzvahs at Louis Boretz, Midoraisa only apply in Eretz Yisrael. However, Midorabonon, Kilaim, Orla, sometimes certain conditions, they also apply in Chutz La'aretz, but in a much lighter version, Midorabonon. And the rule is, if you have a machloikes in Eretz Yisrael regarding the real definition of Kilaim, Orla, whatever that is, we always follow the more lenient opinion in Eretz Yisrael when it comes to Chutz La'aretz, which means Rabbi Talfon in Eretz Yisrael has the right to have the opinion that even he believes that even in Eretz Yisrael, when you have the kshois next to the vine, it's okay. We may not follow him in Eretz Yisrael, but whoever is more lenient opinion in Eretz Yisrael and Doraisa, in Darabanon, we're more mekel. A lot of kulas on those mitzvahs Darabanon. Sofik all of Chutz La'aretz is allowed. Yeah, v'chule. So why are you?
Just can you go over that one more time? I was following that.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, the machloikis is, if you're ready, let me just say. If there is a situation of kilaim, right? There's a machloikis whether something is called kilaim, such as here. We have this questionable creature, vegetable, fruit, whatever that is, we're not sure. Machloikis. Whether that's called kilaim or not in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, legit.
Okay.
Rabbi Tarfon says that it's not called kilaim. Okay, we may not follow him in Eretz Yisrael, where kilaim really applies the oraisa. However, in Chutz La'aretz, where kilaim is just the rabbonon, then the rule is whoever is more makel in a mitzvah tlu ba'oretz, in chutzarts we follow the more makel opinion, the more lenient opinion. If you want to grow your kilaim in Lakewood or Gateshead, whatever, and then would follow more lekula, whichever opinion is makel in the matter. Why? Because it's the Rabbanon. And Rabbanon were very makel. You see a sugi in Kiddush and around Lametches over there, very makel in, let's say, Sofik Ola. Even if it's not Sofik Shokol, you're allowed to eat Sofik Ola and Chutzat. You go to a supermarket in Wisconsin, you don't have to worry, maybe it's Orla, maybe not Orla. Only if you know it's Orla, it's a problem. Same thing more or less with Kilaim. So now the question screams to our heaven. They had lived in Chutzarts. Bishkar was in Bovan. I actually stressed it before. So it should be okay. They should be allowed to put the kilaim next to the vine. And says the Gemara, same old answer. They're not bnei Torah. Because they're not bnei Torah, if you allow them to plant the kilaim, with the kshoit, they'll take it to unhealthy places. They'll extend it too much. They're kind of going to abuse the heter. And that's why we don't let them know of all the heterim. We don't inform them of all the heterim. That's the rule. Machriz Rav. We're now still following, we're still now holding in the second case of Kilaim. Machriz Ravhai. Ravhai announced, Man debay lemizrak shute bekarma lizra. I'm sorry, I misread it. Machriz Rav. Rav made an announcement in his place. Rav moved from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel some point in his life. And Rav said, Hai man de boil mizrak shote bekarma. Whoever wants to plant a kshois in the karma, lizra. He argued on the other opinion, so it seems. Says the Tosfos, no, he did not argue. Pashut, he lived in a place where there were Bnei Torah. That's all. The reason why Rav came all out and said it's absolutely fine, he lived in a place where he knew that people would not abuse the kula. So so he can be makel with them without being concerned that they'll take it to the wrong place. Rav Amram Chasida, on the other hand, Mangid Luluye. Wow. Rav Amram Chasida, says Tosfos that he lived in a place where they're not Bnei Torah. That's where Rav Amram lived. Rav Amram the Chasida, the Chosid, the pious one. Mangid Luluye. Wow. He would go to the extent of even giving malchus for those who did. He went all out against the people who actually plant the kshois together with a vine, and he would be mangid. He would punish them, corporal punishment in Beis Din, because he knew that in his place he has to, not to be the hardliner. Otherwise, they're gonna go all out. They're not bnei Torah. Mishalshia also lived in a not a very Torah place, but he would find a more diplomatic solution. Mishalshia actually held that it's okay in Chutz La'aretz. Now, he did not want actually to go out and do it in your face, outright, he himself, with his, Shtreimel and Bekishet, to go and actually plant it there. Why? Says Rashi, because he was scared that people are going to learn, they're going to take it to the wrong place. So he had another solution. He gave some money to a goyish baby, not baby as 3 years old. When we say tinok, we mean a child. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, a little goy. And he told the little guy, hey, Tim McKenzie Jr., if you don't mind to plant the choice for me, I'll give you, a few dollars. Okay, so he wanted to, people should know that it's okay, but people should realize, it's not completely okay. There's a question here. We're not going to extend it too much, the kula. Fragt the Gemara, v'leiten le tinok Yisrael. Why dafka to a goyish baby? Even a Jewish child is okay. This meikar din is okay. Meikar din, nobody's doing an avera. So give it to a Jewish child. Why dafka to a goy? Why do you have to go that far? Hence the Gemara, Osil misrach. He may continue the bad habit. That Jewish child, if he knows that the big rabbi who allowed him to plant the kshois with a geffen, when he becomes bar mitzvah, he may not necessarily stop. He'll have this child in memory of a choshev arov telling him to do it, and he'll do it with his 20, and then he'll go even further because it's a place of a non-bnei Torah. Ze'akot and godoliyah, and it won't stop. Tosfos here is the whole interesting mahalach about what do you or don't you allow ktanim to do. Let's say make a kiddush in Yom Kippur, you don't He says, "Are you allowed to give a kois of bris milah on Yom Kippur? Because bris milah on Yom Kippur doesn't happen every year. So the baby himself, when he grows up, will realize it was one-off. Yeah, but interesting sugya. Okay, why does he have to give to a Goyish child? He's not bar mitzvah yet. The Goyish kid, what? You think that once he's bar mitzvah, Tim McKenzie Jr., what's the story? Answers Gemara, no. He's concerned again of the onlookers. Yeah, we may, if the other people in his town, which were not the biggest tzaddikim, not Kiryat Sefer over there, yeah? And what? And they'll see that it gives to a goy. They won't know exactly. Maybe it's a Jew. Back then, people didn't dress so differently, right? So, eventually people will mix a goy and a yid, and therefore he did double, you know what I'm saying? Like double protection. A child and dafka significantly young, a goy and dafka significantly young, then people are not going to take it to the wrong extent and they'll know it's okay to plant the hops next to the vine, but they're not going to go further and start doing whatever they want. Mace, case number 3 is the mace, which means the question was, what's the halacha if there is a dead body on Yom Tov? And the question is, that Yom Tov is, generally speaking, in certain ways more mekel than Shabbos. Are you allowed to bury a goy, to bury a yid on Yom Tov? Or, I got confused, because another question is, are you allowed to ask goyim to bury the mace on Yom Tov? That's a question, a Jewish mace on Yom Tov. Sholach lahu, again, hard line. Rav Menashe is being strict all the way with his people. Mace, lo yisasku be'lo yudoin v'lo armoin. Neither Jews nor goyim should be dealing with him, should be misasik with him. Lo b'yom tov rishon, lo b'yom tov sheni. Neither on the first day of Yom Tov, neither the second day of Yom Tov, which is what? Which is obviously just the Rabbanon. That's a very, very strict ruling, right? Not even Yom Tov sheni the Rabbanon, not even asking Mackenzie and Co., undertakers, LTD, you can't ask goyim even Yom Tov sheni. Okay, well, okay, so that was his psak. Why? It's an issur of digging and doing other malachas. Heini, is that so? Asks the Gemara. The bottom line is a question. V'omar Rabbi Yehuda bar Shilas, Omar Rabbi Asi, Uvda Hava, there was real life story. Bebeknishta de Ma'on, there was a town called Ma'on. In that shul of Ma'on at Beknesses, in a synagogue, B'Yom Tov hasamuch l'Shabbos. There was a Yom Tov which was samuch, which was a day either before or after Shabbos, a day adjacent to Shabbos, which means we had a situation of Yom Tov next to Shabbos, either Yom Tov Friday or Yom Tov was Sunday, and Rashi explains none of them are exciting for a dead body when you don't have freezers in the world. Yeah, why? Because if it's Friday Yom Tov, you better do something now. If you wait Friday and Shabbos, it won't be nice on Sunday. The mace will begin to decay, or at least, excuse my language, stink. Or maybe the Yom Tov was on Sunday, they couldn't bury on Shabbos. The assumption is Shabbos is a non-starter. Shabbos is out of the equation, out of the discussion. But if there was Shabbos and then Yom Tov, right? So already it's 2 days, and they're coming to the Rav to ask, what do we do? Yeah, either we will have 2 days, or we're already after 2 days. Yeah? But also, they came to Rabbi Yochanan and asked, Rabbi, what shall we do? There's a mace here, it's bizarre a mace. Are we allowed to bury him in this situation of avoiding two consecutive days without being buried? V'amarlu, yes, he asked about Mamin. Oh, and he said, yes, Goyim can do it. In other words, if we're talking about 2 days in a row, then Goyim are allowed to be sasik with it. Okay. In other words, if we have a situation of 2 days without, taking care of the mace, and the mace may decay, rot, smell bad, you're allowed to tell Goyim to deal with him. V'amarov, we're going to see soon the Tosfos and the Halacha. V'amarov, on the same direction, on the same wavelength. V'amarov.
The question?
Yes.
What if they're going to want involved? They say, what do I care about these Jews? I'm going to help them.
You pay them. Al shlosha dvarim ha'olam ha'omed, kesef, money, and guilt. Yeah, you give them enough, enough money, all works out well.
Okay.
My wife gave birth on Shabbos morning. I paid the tax, yeah, to pay. And I didn't ask him for the change because I couldn't take change on Shabbos. He became a millionaire in Gibraltar. Says Rove, Meis b'Yom Tov Rishon, Hisasko b'Yamomin. Let's say a person died on the first day of Yom Tov. Even then, you're allowed to tell Goyim to deal with him. Here comes a big machlokes Rashi and Ritva, and Shulchan Aruch takes a stand. Rashi says, Meis b'Yom Tov Rishon Hisasko b'Yamomin does not mean that he died on the first day of Yom Tov. Why? As we said before, you're only allowed to ask Goyim to deal with him if it's really a real dire situation of 2 days in a row. But if he died on first day of Yom Tov, let's say it's just a 1 day Yom Tov, you're not supposed to let the Goyim deal with him, not even. Says Rashi, Yom Tov Rishon Saska B'Yamomin means it's Yom Tov Rishon after Shabbos already. It's Yom Tov Rishon, but it's really the second day of the mace being outside. That's Rashi. Ritva argues, or at least offers another solution. Ritva says no. Ritva says, and that's what Shulchan Aruch paskins, that if it's a first day Yom Tov, and he died on the first day of Yom Tov, whichever Yom Tov, he died on the first day of, I don't know, Sukkot, yeah? Chutz La'aretz, there are 2 days. He died the first day of Yom Tov, yeah? Already then, you can tell Goyim to deal with him, to bury him. The Yom Tov Sheni, Sasku Bo Yisrael. Oh, says the Ritva, if it's Yom Tov Sheni, he died in Yom Tov Sheni, even if the body is still fresh, he just died in Yom Tov Sheni, allowed to have Israel doing almost everything necessary. Why? Says the Ritva, very strong language. The Ramah is a bit more machmir, but the Ritva and the Sfardim, the Shulchan Aruch, they say no. Yom Tov Sheni Sasku Yisrael. Yom Tov Sheni for a mace is not Yom Tov. Ad kedei kach. Yes, for when it comes to a mace, who decided Yom Tov Sheni? Who invented it? Chachamim, Chazal. Okay, thank you very much. Hem Amru v'hem Amru. They say when it comes to a mace, Yom Tov Sheni, because of Koved mace. Very important concept in Yiddishkeit. You're allowed to and should. I'm not saying I'm saying what the Ritva says, yeah? Yom Tov Sheni, you're allowed to ask even Israel, the regular people, the regular Chevra Kadisha, to deal with the mace. Continues the Gemara to Mechadish even more. Va'afilu b'Yom Tov Sheni shel Rosh Hashanah. Yom Tov Sheni shel Rosh Hashanah always has as we all know, Yom Tov shel Rosh Hashanah is stricter than regular Yom Tov Sheni. Why? Yom Tov Sheni shel Golius, we know it's less Kodesh. We know it's not the real day. Everybody knows, right? Yom Tov Sheni shel Rosh Hashanah is not true. It was always established to have Shnei Yomim, even Eretz Yisrael. And also there's big tzad to say it's Yom HaArichta. It's the same Kedusha. That's what the Shechianu on the second day is a suffix. Why do we take the new fruit on the second day of Rosh Hashanah? Because there's a big tzad to say that it's all one long day. So why are you saying Shechianu in the middle of Yom Tov? Right? It's always a question. So even Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah, which is usually looked at as a more Doraisidic thing, stronger, stricter, even that Yom Tov Sheni, when it comes to a mace, even that's allowed. Yeah, Mashi'enken bebeitza. In beitza, there is another halacha. A beitza that was born in the first day of Rosh Hashanah, you can't eat it on the second day of Rosh Hashanah because it's still considered to be one long day of Yom Tov, and it's still nolad. Nolad, you can't. Something nolad 9 o'clock in the morning Yom Tov, you can't eat it for 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So Rosh Hashanah is all one long day of 2 days. You can't have the beitza. When it comes to a mace, mace is not a beitza. Mace is a bizoin a mace. So, Bekitza, this is a very, very, very long question, again, to ask of Menashe. Why was it so strict with those people? Why didn't you tell them? Yeah, it's okay. Yom Tov Rishon, you can ask what? Amamin, ask Abdallah and Mahmoud to deal with him Yom Tov Rishon. Yom Tov Sheni, what? Even Israel. Why did you tell them it's always Osir? We know the answer. Shenan b'nei Torah, but not b'nei Torah. And therefore, if you tell them to bury a mace on Yom Tov Sheni, they'll start driving the cars on Yom Tov Sheni, and they'll start doing everything. Yeah, Toisves, very interesting. Toisves here has a reservation. I don't know if I have time. You doing? It's a very interesting one. Let's do Toisves. Look at Toisves. Yom Tov Sheni Saska B'Yisrael says Toisves. Top of the page. In the Maseches Beitza, when we have the sugya, we come with the conclusion, nowadays we have this horrible nation called Chaverim, and they're not Chaverim, they're not friends. They were very, very nasty and anti-Semitic goyim. They would always go against the Yidden in Bavel. And nowadays, because of the Chaverim, we don't allow all that to happen. Perush explains Tosfos, Velo yis'asku b'Yisrael. Israel are not allowed to deal with the body on the first day of Yom Tov. In other words, says Tosfos, the Chavri are always trying to get us off the derech lo aleinu. They say, you Jews, you don't work for us on your Yom Tov. We saw you buried your dead, and we know it's usher. So now I want you to make me, I don't know, to start driving the car for me, right? Use my phone for me, right? And therefore, nowadays we have more reservation. Says Tosfos, Ma'aseh Shehoyo. Ma'aseh Shehoyo, in the times of Tosfos, in medieval France, Ma'aseh Shehoyo v'lichu meis chutz l'tchum b'Yom Tov, v'holchu achrav besusim l'sasek b'meis. There was an event in the town of Lyon. Lyon in France. Soon you'll see that's the name of the place. And there was a mace, and they made all halabaloo. They took him out of the tchum with horses, tons of isurim, and they did everything because Rabbenu Tam. Rabbenu Tam was angry with the people who participated in Levaya. Even those who went without horses, they walked, the frumer ones, he was angry with them for running this Levaya. Why? The Shom Rebbe, the time when Mishum Demasik Ravina Idna Dika Chavri, right? In other words, because we have the concept of Chavri, we don't really allow this la'alocha because we're scared that if you allow that, the goyim may ask you to do more or force you. Maybe by us in France, we don't have that chumrah of Chavri. Still it says, and here comes the punchline, there is a chash today. Here comes the main thing. Rabbenu Tam, Bnei Bishkar, Ena Bnei Torah, Bnei Milion, Bnei Torah. He gave them a shtoch, just like Bnei Bishkar in the times of the Gemara. You think you're from Bnei Bishkar? This entire kula is very good for who? For other people who are not Bnei Bishkar. But Bnei Bishkar were not Bnei Torah. This is not a nice smoother story of shkofo, yeah? We're not it's a halacha. If you're in a place where people are not Bnei Torah, then you cannot allow Yidden to deal with a mace. So he's asking, you people of Lyon, you think you're more Bnei Torah, Bnei Bishkar? Nowadays, we're not Bnei Torah. Apparently, this is a machloikis. This is a machloikis whether nowadays we're called Bnei Torah or not. And I just opened Shulchan Aruch here. Says Shulchan Aruch. We shouldn't know. Shev Tchiesa Mesim. Says Shulchan Aruch. Mesim uta l'koivroi. Imu b'yom tov rishon. Says the Ramo. Lo yisasku b'Yisrael v'afilu yasriach. Yevshon b'amomin. The goyim are not willing to do it. Really, the Ramo paskins, like Tosfos. No, nowadays we cannot have Yidden dealing with him in Yom Tov Rishon. Yisasku b'amomin. You have to, if goyim can, let the goyim deal with him. Afilu meis boy b'yom. V'afilu michoylin l'shos halacha shelo yisriach v'chulei. In other words, have the goyim do it now and don't wait for tomorrow, right? V'chulei, he gives all types of limitations. We're not learning all the halachas. What I want to show you is about Yom Tov Sheni. Halacha Dalet. The Yom Tov Sheni is Sasku B'Yisrael. There we are, Mekel. Interesting. So we're not completely like Bnei Bishkar, we're not Bnei Torah. So Yom Tov Rishon only goyim, right? Not the Yidden. Yom Tov Sheni Sasku B'Yisrael. Afil Yom Tov Sheni Shlosh Hashanah. V'chule v'chule. He goes to all kinds of, again, limitations. Ashkenaz, says the Rama, Ein Nogin can, but we prefer going to do it. Okay, but for the Fid Rama, then the second day Yom Tov, you can have Yisrael doing it. The Fid Rama, less so. But the first day, everyone agrees like Tosfos, the first day, we only have Goyim doing it, not Yidden. Shabbos, mashma, you don't let Goyim do it either. Unless it's, I don't know, a very dire situation. Normally, as far as it's understood from the Sugi, Shabbos is out of the question. Okay. As far as Svara, I don't remember who they quoted. Even for the Yid, it would be a bizoyan to know he was buried on Shabbos. Right? People would remember, that caver was buried on Shabbos. You see the caver of Chaim Yankel Sprintalovsky? It was done on Shabbos. I saw Abdullah and Mahmoud burying him. So you don't want that eternal memory. Not so nice for his memory. And that alone is the reason not to allow Goyim to do it when it's Shabbos. Mashenkin Yom Tov. Anyhow, it's more mekel because Yom Tov is not Shabbos. Omar Rab Abin Barav Huna, Omar Rav Chama Bar Guria. More about Kila, but from a different perspective. Mis'atif odem bekila ubekaskasea leyoitzel shusabim Shabbos ve'en choishesh, which means, let's say a person wants to take the kila. Kila, the way I imagine it, at least, is something very fine, delicate kind of fabric. The person wants to take it, instead of having it on his bed, he wants to wrap himself up. He wants like a big shawl, a big, coat. He does have a coat. Like today, you'd wrap yourself with a blanket. So can he take the kila with kaskasea? That's a chiddush. What's kaskasea? These are straps that are connected to the kila, right? In order to hang the kila onto the sticks of the bed. Now, those kaskasim, they are redundant. You're not allowed to walk in Shabbos in something that's not levush. You can wear clothes on Shabbos. You can't start, walking with a parrot on your shoulder. Yeah, you can't, whatever. Things that are not really serving your body. So maybe the kaskasea, the straps are not really beautifying your body or warming your body. So maybe you're not allowed. We say, yes, it's allowed. Why? Because kaskasim are tofel to the actual kila. It's not significant because kaskasim don't make a big deal out of them. They're tofel, the secondary, the subordinate to the main kila. Therefore, it's allowed. Wait a second. Wait. What's the difference between this and halacha of Ravuna? The Omar Ravuna Omar Rav. Hayoytze betalis she'enu metzuyetzes kilchos b'Shabbos chayev chatas. Whoa, which means, let's say a person, interesting la'alocha. What happens if a person has a tzitzis, and that tzitzis is not properly kosher? Let's say you only have three, the chutim, all of them. One corner is missing completely or cut more than it should be. You're not allowed to go out with it on Shabbos in a place of no eruv. And if you do it tzechiyuv chatas, why? Let me explain. Because why? Because if you don't wear any tzitzis at all, it's a different problem. It's not a problem of Shabbos. Maker, then it's okay. It's not Shabbos, yeah? If you wear tzitzis with the tzitzis, with all four, sets of strings on all four corners, give out the yid. Even that is a shilas, whatever, you are allowed to. Mashenken, if you have the tzitzis garment and the tzitzis themselves are what? Are not kosher, then you stop schlepping something unwanted. They're not serving you for a mitzvah. Those tzitzis, the strings themselves, the chuti tzitzis, are not serving you for a mitzvah. It's pasul. Besides the fact it's pasul, it's also a problem of is over Esed Oraisa. Besides that, there's a problem with what? The fact that you stop schlepping some strings that are pasul. They're not mitzvahdik. So stop schlepping them. And the Gemara is asking, what's the difference? Just like you say, but the kila, the kaskasim, we don't make a big deal out of them. Why do you make a big deal out of the chutei tzitzis psulim? And it says the Gemara, it's not the same thing. Tzitzit legabel talis cheshivi veloi batli. Hani lo cheshivi batli. Which means, the tzitzis for the talis, the tzitzis strings, vis-a-vis the talis, are choshuv. Why are the choshuv? Machlokes Rishonim. Rashi says because of tchelis. Because the tchelis is choshuv, it's expensive, it's a mitzvah thing. They're not bottle, they're not secondary to the beged. They have their own chashivus, and therefore they are there. They are there screaming, shouting, and important. And if you stop schlepp them, they're not serving you for anything. They're not bottle. Tosfos says that the reason on the choshev is, what will you do with those tzitzit strings that are hanging there? You're not going to throw them to the garbage. The ones that are good, you're going to transfer them to your new talis. So you want to keep them. They have their own chashivus as of themselves. If they won't be in this beged, they'll be in another beged. But you want them for themselves. And therefore, Mashenk and the kaskasim are less choshuv. The main thing is the key. The kaskasim are a little shvantzalach here and there to hang it on the bed. But they're not choshuv as themselves. The kaskasim are serving the kila. Here's the other way around. The main thing is the tzitzis, the strings. Now, okay, says the Gemara one more thing. I don't know how far we can go, but we'll start. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna, yeah, okay. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna. Some people have the gears to Amar Ravin bar Rav Huna. Marim Odom al Meshameres. I want to remind everybody that our sugya started with two topics. What were the topics? the issue of ohel, meaning when you place a mishameres. The first Mishnah began by speaking about a mishameres. You have a sieve, yeah, you have a sifter, a sieve, a net that you spread all around a barrel, and that's a problem of ohel, right? That was the first question. That's what we spoke about ohel. The other issue is the problem of placing shmorim, right? You place the sediments on that net in order for the water, or I would say the liquid, the wine that's inside the sediments to trickle down and to trickle down and go down. That could be a problem of what? A borer, mishamer, which is borer or meraked. So let's refresh our memories. We said that on Yom Tov, you are not allowed to create the ohel. The preparation for oichel nefesh is not allowed according to Chachamim. But the actual the actual filtering and separating the wine from the sediments, on Yom Tov, that's allowed. Borer is almost always allowed on Yom Tov, it's oichel nefesh. Okay, so you can't start creating the ohel. If it's already there from before Yom Tov, gizun teheid, you can put your shmorim with the bits of wine mixed up and let them, let the mishameres do the selection for you. Okay, that was the Mishnah. Based on that, says Rabbi Bavuna, ma'arim. There's a case in which a person can trick. A person can create some kind of, circumvent halacha, so to speak. Ma'arim odom l'mishameres b'yom tov, litlus ba'rimoinim, v'toyle b'shmorim, which means, what's the reason you're not allowed to place the mishameres on top of the barrel? It's not because of ohel, for whichever reason we said before. It's because of uvda dechol. Okay, but let's say you're going to say, listen, it's uvda dechol to prepare my oichel nefesh, right? But let's say I just want to have the net over there because I'm looking for a surface. I have rimoinim. Rimoinim is just an example. I have some fruit. I don't have any surface to put the fruit. The kitchen counter is Baruch Hashem full. The fridge, I don't know. You know what? I'll make some kind of surface which happens to be a net on top of the chovis, and I'll put the rimonim there. Once it's already there, you're also allowed to put the shmorim inside. That's the trick that we allow. We'll stop here. This is the punchline, but then we'll continue tomorrow. You're only allowed to do that if you first put the rimonim. Rav Ashi is really limiting the harama big time. No, you can't just put the mishameres and say, I'm going to put rimonim one day, and then the first thing you do is the filtering. Can't do that. It's too evident, yeah? It's too much of a, it's not a white lie, it's a lie, yeah? Mashenkin, if you first put the rimonim, that makes it look better. I really use it for rimonim. So it looks like the purpose of the mishameres is rimonim. That's okay, kosher. Once I have the rimonim, you know what? The Mishnah says that I have a mishameres, I can use it for the wine. I can take off the rimonim and use it for the wine. That's what Rav Ashi says. He limits the haroma. And the Gemara is going to ask about Rav Ashi several questions and answer. That will be in the tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem. Tomorrow, Tuesday, there's Shir, Be'ezus Hashem. And Wednesday, no Shir. Wednesday, Thursday, no Shir. See you on Sunday night, yeah? Sunday night. So tomorrow, yes. And Be'ezus Hashem, Sunday night, yes. Okay? Thank you. Shkoyach, Atzloch Uvrocha. Tizku Mitzvahs. Thank you very, very much.